The Committee of Independence were Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston. Jefferson had been now about a year a member of Congress, but had attended his duty in the House a very small part of the time, and when there, had never spoken in public. During the whole time I sat with him in Congress, I never heard him utter 3 sentences together. It will naturally be inquired how it happened that he was appointed on a committee of such importance. There were more reasons than one. Mr. Jefferson had the reputation of a masterly pen. He had been chosen a delegate in Virginia, in consequence of a very handsome public paper which he had written for the House of Burgesses, which had given him the character of a fine writer. Another reason was that Mr. Richard Henry Lee was not beloved by most of his colleagues from Virginia, and Mr. Jefferson was set up to rival and supplant him. This could only be done by the pen, for Mr. Jefferson could stand no competition with him or anyone else in elocution and public debate. The Declaration of Independence I always considered as a theatrical show. Jefferson ran away with all the stage effect of that, i.e., all the glory of it. I shall part with Mr. Jefferson with great regret, but as he will no doubt be placed at Versailles, I shall be happy in a correspondence of friendship, confidence, and affection with the minister at this court, which is a very fortunate circumstance, both for me and the public. You can scarcely have heard a character too high of my friend and colleague Mr. Jefferson, either in point of power or virtues. My fellow labourer in Congress 8 or 9 years ago, upon many arduous trials, particularly in the draft of our Declaration of Independence, and in the formation of our codes of articles of war and laws for the army, I have found him uniformly the same wise and prudent man and steady patriot. I only fear that his unquenchable thirst for knowledge may injure his health. Jefferson went off yesterday, and a good riddance of bad wear. I hope his temper will be more cool and his principles more reasonable in retirement than they have been in office. I am almost tempted to wish he may be chosen vice-president at the next election, for there, if he could do no good, he could do no harm. He has talents, I know, and integrity, I believe, but his mind is now poisoned with passion, prejudice, and faction. Jefferson has succeeded, and multitudes are made to believe that he is pure benevolence, that he desires no profit, that he wants no patronage, that if you will only let him govern, he will rule only to make the people happy. But you and I know him to be an intriguer. There has never been the smallest interruption of the personal friendship between me and Mr. Jefferson that I know of. You should remember that Jefferson was but a boy to me. I was at least 10 years older than him in age, and more than 20 years older than him in politics. I am bold to say that I was his preceptor in politics, and taught him everything that has been good and solid in his whole political conduct. I served with him on many committees in Congress, in which we established some of the most important regulations of the army, etc., etc., etc. I hope one day your letters will all be published in volumes. They will not always appear orthodox or liberal in politics, but they will exhibit a mass of taste, sense, literature, and science, presented in a sweet simplicity, and a neat elegance of style, which will be read with delight in future ages. Mr. Jefferson, I have the honour to be your humble and obedient servant, John Adams.